Well, a new year is upon us, and as you know, New Year is a time of new beginnings, starting new things, maybe making new commitments. And here on Wednesday Wisdom, that's no different. We're due to start a new book of the Bible on our weekly devotional series here, and we invite you to go with us on that journey. And what we've decided to do after long consideration is go through the Gospel of Luke. It's actually quite lengthy endeavor. It may take us all year plus some. So I invite you to go on that journey with us. If you don't have a Bible or a Bible app on your phone, I invite you to find one, download it, and follow along with us. Luke is a book of the Bible that's actually pretty exciting because you hear us talk all the time about the gospel and what the gospel means and all that. Well, Luke is actually one of four gospels in the Bible. And if you're not familiar with that term, gospel, I mean, it might be worth talking through that a minute. A gospel is actually an account of Jesus' life when he was here on earth. Gospel comes from the Old English words meaning good news, because obviously God sending his son to save us from sin is good news, giving us eternal life. But often in American vocabulary, it's kind of ironic that the word gospel outside of religious circles often means truth. Somebody takes it as gospel, it means that's the truth. And it certainly is the truth. And I think the introduction here of Luke that I'm going to cover today really speaks to that. And it's a great introduction, as you might say, for going through this book, because it kind of talks about the reasons why and all that. Luke starts off talking about that many people set out to write accounts of the events that have been fulfilled, meaning Christ's birth, death, and resurrection. But I want to focus first on that word event. Jesus' life was an event. I mean, here it is 2,000 years later, and we're still talking about it, still affecting our lives. But that word event, I think, might mean something special to us right now, because this whole COVID pandemic that we're going through, that's another world event, right? And it's something that sticks in our mind and that we notice, and people will be talking about for years to come. It may not be as big as the life of Christ, but I wanted to kind of plant that seed about the event. This book of Luke was written in about AD 60. So we're talking right around 30 years after Jesus was on this earth and was put to death on the cross. So going back to gospel means truth. What Luke is talking about here is the fact that this event happened and there were people that witnessed it only 30 years later. And I happen to think, in our life, what's 30 years ago? So I looked up 1991. What happened in 1991? The Gulf War, believe it or not. The invasion of Kuwait, I think, happened in January. And I would say, it's pretty safe to say, even though I wasn't in Kuwait, and many people that live today younger than me might not have been alive at that time, you could find somebody or many people who were involved in that conflict and do have an intimate knowledge of it. And that's what Luke is saying that he did here. He said that there's eyewitness reports, and he carefully investigated everything from the beginning. And that's one thing Luke is really known for. He's known for going out and finding the people who knew, the people who were there. While he himself was not personally there when all this happened in Jesus' life, he went out and researched and talked to the people who were to give a great depth, a great context, and believability to this. It is, once again, truth that this is an account of what happened. This isn't a made-up story. Other places in the Bible, you'll find parables and stuff, which are a story to illustrate a point. This whole book of Luke, this gospel, is not. This is fact for fact what Luke honestly believes happened after doing this long investigation. And the thing that I think is cool from a Wednesday Wisdom perspective, the way he ends these first four verses, He's telling us why he's writing this gospel or this account of what happened in Jesus' life. And he is writing it for this person, Theophilus. Theophilus may or may not be a specific person. There's a lot of debate about that, but it really doesn't matter because he's saying he wrote this account for someone else to read so they would know what happened, so they would be able to trust as much as he did these facts. He ends this right there in verse 4. So you can be certain of the truth of everything. Everything he's about to lay out here that we're going to go through over this extended period of time is the truth. It happened. It's history. And you can look outside the Bible to verify a lot of this, but obviously we're going to spend most of our time on the account here. But what I want to talk about, that last part about Theophilus, was he's writing this account to tell someone else about it. And going back to the gospel and the truth of the gospel and the Great Commission. And that's what we're called to do, is share the gospel with others. So during this time, I'm going to invite you to come on this journey with us, this really in-depth, verse by verse going through of this Gospel of Luke, the account of Jesus' life from Luke's perspective. And share that with somebody. I mean, there's going to be things that speak to you as we're going through this. And take these posts and share them with other people. And, just that it might encourage them in this time. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people, and even though we're into the new year now and we're not through this pandemic, life is just wearing on people. And I think we're going to find a lot of encouragement going through this gospel and ways we can apply that to our everyday life that just might bring a little joy to the situation we're in. So we're looking forward to going through this with you. And we'll catch you next week when we'll get into verse 5 and get the ball rolling. Have a great week.